Welcome one and all to Malaise episode 2. First match is going to be Diddy Kong against Peach. Alright, looks like we're going to be on Wii Sports Resort. I think that's the name of the stage. Alright, Peach pulls out an early counter, is not able to get hit by it. Well, she uses the counter. Ideally when you use the counter you get hit by your opponents, you can use the counter attack. But Diddy Kong actually missed Peach. So ironically, his inability to follow up on the combo actually saved him there. Something that comes up with real players all the time. Diddy Kong getting the down tilt and up smash. I didn't think he normally knew that combo. It's actually a pretty good conversion to go for, but it's really hard to teach the amiibo. Also, Diddy Kong keeps throwing out random charged smash attacks. He's gotten more percent on Peach than he's taken, so I can't knock it too much. And they're in an early footstool. Diddy Kong's actually barely able to reach the ledge. Peach falling into another up smash. Granted, Diddy Kong threw out about 3 of them in a row, so she really shouldn't have, and Diddy Kong keeps up smashing. That is a lot of... I know Peach is doing a pretty good job of staying above his head. But still, man, that's a lot of up smash. Diddy Kong tries to punish getting back on stage with an air dodge instead of a hitbox. That is unfortunate. Forward smash. Peach gets in at a really weird angle. It's not going to kill. Alright, Diddy Kong finally gets a banana, throws it right over Peach's head, and gets a random smash attack. Peach has just barely dealt about 40 damage to Diddy Kong, so I get the feeling this is going to be a pretty long match. Diddy Kong's just getting like 1, maybe 2 hits at a time. Really not optimizing his damage. I know you can't exactly expect that from Amiibo, but at the same time, I really would be hoping that he'd hit more of these moves together. And just more of the same, a whole bunch of up smashes. It's really not helping the audio on this, so my apologies to the audience. But I guess if you're watching in the postseason, you know what you're in for. Peach gets put off stage. Diddy Kong keeps her from landing at least. Peach finally hits back with a combo of her own. 3 up airs in a row. That might be a record this match. Peach is doing a pretty good job of dodging. She hasn't really shown much aggression, which you can actually kind of tell by the stock counts of the characters. They both, well, Peach seems to be waiting for Diddy Kong to be making mistakes, but Diddy Kong just keeps throwing out moves, and a lot of them keep hitting. Forward smash, that one's not going to kill Peach. Peach is a very light character. Gets on off stage. She makes it back. And she retreats before even getting within, I think, almost any attack's distance of Diddy Kong. He does have a side special that covers a good amount of ground, and you can either throw out a hitbox or a grab hitbox off of it. So it can be a little risky if you're not accounting for it. Peach fell out of the second hit of the forward smash. That one probably would have killed, especially since it seems to be mainly sending up smash on the main stage is going to kill Peach. Diddy Kong didn't even lose the stock. And for our second match, we're going to have Bayonetta against Pit. And we're going to be on Delfino Plaza, one of the perks of having the wider range of stage choices. Oh, Pit tried to go for an up smash, but Bayonetta actually hit him with probably one of the very last hitboxes of her up air. One of the perks that Bayonetta has is that you can actually hold her aerials. For a player, what you do is you throw out the aerial and then you hold the A button, and then you hold the same pose, but she'll shoot out a little bit, some tiny bullets that don't really flinch the opponent, but deal a little bit of extra damage. A couple of her moves, like her up air and neutral air, she actually does keep the spinning animation she has. They did have to make it so that the hitboxes are not incredibly powerful, so that Bayonetta doesn't have infinitely lasting aerials. But if you are in a bind and you threw out a wrong move, you can extend the move to at least hit the opponent. Like right there, you can see Bayonetta actually did 1.2% damage to Pit by extending out the aerial. So Bayonetta was doing really great at the beginning, and then Pit got a slightly early kill. Bayonetta got the full Bayonetta combo. I remember the training sessions took so long for this amiibo. Dragging Pit up, unable to finish the rest of it, at least dealing some damage though. Up smash just hitting Pit. Bayonetta's doing really well. Granted, Bayonetta did have to get retrained once before, so I would be a little shocked if she did absolutely terribly. That being said, on all the amiibo tier lists, the Bayonetta amiibos don't normally do too great. Now, as for Pit, Pit as a character is kind of just a pretty good all-around character. He just has everything he needs, no huge weaknesses. He's kind of like Mario in all the sports games. He just has enough of everything. And because of his high recovery, he's actually pretty good to teach new players of the game, simply because if they mess up his recovery, they have a really good chance of being able to make it back. Bayonetta finally gets her feet on the ground, but our up smash came out too slowly, so Pit's challenge. Pit is not killing Bayonetta. He's hitting her with a lot of moves, but just none of them are killing. Alright, dancing around at the ledge, wondering who will get the next big hit, and Pit lands another neutral air. That's not enough to kill Bayonetta. Bayonetta does have some kill moves, notably her back air and of course any of her smash attacks. Although against a good player, in order to land a lot of those smash attacks, you need to go for Witch Time, which is a move that it's hard to teach the amiibo, not in that it's hard to get them to use it, but it's hard to get them to use it the right amount. If you teach it to them a little bit, they tend to use it a lot. And first blood. Up smash is tall enough to land through the platform. Both amiibo on their last stock at 0%. Bayonetta's recovery actually was able to hit Pit out of his. There are some advantages to having a recovery with a hitbox. The slope of the stage actually really detrimental for Pit there. It enabled him to get hit by that extra combo. And Pit goes for a taunt, when he could have gotten a great follow-up. That's the sort of thing we hope to train out of these amiibo with all the retrainings. Bayonetta going for another good Bayonetta combo, getting a lot of damage on Pit. She's not really in any danger unless that kills her off the side of the stage. Alright then. I guess Pit wins. You'll see Bayonetta in the next round. And for our next match, we have Baytwotta against Mewtwo. Now, some of you may be confused. So yes, we did just barely have a match with Bayonetta. That is with the Player 1 Bayonetta. This is with the Player 2 Bayonetta. If you don't know anything about the games, they have different hairstyles and a couple of things like that. The only reason I couldn't call them this one Bayonet 2 was because the spelling of it makes it come out as Bay 1-2, and that gets even more confusing. So we have Baytwotta. So we have Bayonetta, although that one's pronounced Bayonetta, and Baytwotta. If they ever made a Bayonetta 3 amiibo, then we'd have Baytwotta. And if they ever make a Bayonetta 4, it just goes on and on. You can see the pattern. Oh, wow, and Bayonetta actually gets killed pretty early. Now, Mewtwo is a kind of a glass cannon character. He can't take hits super well, but he can certainly deal out a lot of damage. So a lot of the strategy with him is hitting the opponent without getting hit, which, when I say it out loud, is a strategy that pretty much any character would be able to be successful with. Mewtwo is able to successfully cover, jump get-ups into a smash attack. That is unfortunate for Mewtwo. His recovery is just long enough he's able to recover again. Lands a couple hits in neutral. Actually is able to land it up with a forward air. Bayonetta doesn't go for the third hit of the forward air. Honestly, I'm a little questioning why the amiibo didn't go for that. Whenever you have a... Usually it's not with a forward air, unless you're Sora or Bayonetta. But the simple jab combos, usually 1, 2, 3, those sorts of moves, the third hit is the one that launches the opponent away. And you usually need to go for it, because if you don't, then your opponent is directly in your face and critically not launched away. So then they hit you. Bayonetta does not seem to be able to land against Mewtwo. This is especially weird because Baytwotta was actually, of the two Bayonetta, the only one who was able to make it into the tournament. Lots of trades going on, none of them happening in Bayonetta's favor. Well, most of them not happening in Bayonetta's favor. Mewtwo's just landing the first strike every single time. This is concerning because if Bayonetta loses this one, then in the next round of the main Malaise losers bracket, that means we'll have two Bayonettas going against each other. Which I guess will be a first, but it's also not nearly the kind of thing I planned on happening. Forward smash near the ledge, not enough to kill Mewtwo. And he recovers. So Bayonetta didn't go off stage to try to edge guard Mewtwo, but for a character like Bayonetta, that's not necessarily a bad decision. So Bayonetta does have a lot of ways to get back to the stage, but they are dependent on a couple of things. For example, you've seen Bayonetta use multiple side specials. You only get the second one if you hit an opponent with the first one. So Bayonetta has that option, but not always. And Bayonetta died. Alright, well, that does mean we are going to be getting the Bayonetta mirror matchup next round. And that brings us to Banjo against Dark Samus. And it looks like we're going to be on Midgar. Stage that, when you don't have hazards on, the platform layout is basically just Battlefield, but again. It is nice to have the visual differences. I will say the most impressive parts of the stage are actually when you are playing with hazards, just because the stage has a lot of transformations that go with it, so it really doesn't feel like a Battlefield stage. But when you turn off the hazards, it's just sort of stuck like this. Banjo catches the grenade egg pretty much as early as he could. He wasn't able to actually throw it at Dark Samus, but he was able to get it out of his hands before it explodes. And that is something that a lot of less experienced players have with the character. You can use the grenade egg, but actually picking it up and throwing it fast enough. One of the symptoms I'd say is that in Smash Bros. Ultimate, the item picking up animation feels slower relative to other Smash Bros. Games, which is weird to say, because if anything, I'm pretty sure it's faster. Oh, Banjo fell out of the up smash there. But I would say that relative to the rest of the speed of the game, picking up items feels a lot slower in Ultimate. Banjo gets a 2-hit juggle out of Dark Samus, and then he stops. I guess he didn't want to commit. great. That's probably a 2-frame from Dark Samus. It can be a little bit hard to tell because there's a chance Banjo wasn't starting to grab the ledge yet. But either way, Dark Samus did get the extra pressure, got the damage on Banjo, put him into a not fun position to be in. And instead of going for the same thing that time, Dark Samus elected to shoot a missile that I don't think ever could have hit Banjo. And you can see that Banjo's mid-stage recovery got instantly punished with a forward air. That's the sort of thing that ideally would be trained out of the amiibo, but it's also the sort of thing that most humans normally don't go for, because the reward, especially on a move like Banjo's up special, so he brings out the shock jump pad, and it does have a hitbox, but it's just below him only, and it doesn't come out particularly fast. So it's a very much high-risk, low-reward play to go for. Combos the grenade. He does finally get killed. However, that's only his first stock taken. He has 2 more, and based off of how the rest of the match is going, he's going to have a pretty good job against Dark Samus. Recovers low. Doesn't get hit by the down tilt that time. Now, the Banjo amiibo does not seem to remember that it has the side special Wonder Wing, which is especially useful against characters who are spamming projectiles at you because the move is invincible. And I don't mean figuratively invincible, it actually has invincibility ingrained in the move. So you can be grabbed, and weirdly enough, Sora's counter actually stuns people, so that one move can hit you out of it. But anything that isn't a grab or the 1 DLC privilege move will hit you out of the move. I mean, will not be able to hit you out of the move, which is... Banjo's not going to be able to recover from that. Tries to use Wonder Wing to recover, doesn't land it. That was actually the first Wonder Wing of the stock. Again, Banjo should be using it to possibly pester Dark Samus when she throws out projectiles. That's a pretty good time to use it, especially when you're at a kill percentage like this one. Goes for a down throw to forward air combo instead. Seems to work out pretty well. Dark Samus seems to have a charge shot charged up, but the amiibo always seems to have a hard time of knowing to actually use the thing. They're pretty good with charging it, but it almost seems like they value the potential of being able to use a fully charged shot over actually using the fully charged shot. Suddenly things are not going really well for Banjo. He was dominating for this match, but once he got hit off stage and died a little early, things have started to spiral downhill for him. Gets sent off stage again. He's able to make it back. Can he get past Dark Samus? Not that time. He does actually go for the get-up attack. I thought he was going to wait. Banjo needs to grab the ledge again. Dark Samus was stuck holding the grenade when it went off. Banjo up specials into the charge shot. Dark Samus proving me wrong and actually using the thing when it was most important. And here we've got Piranha Plant against Sephiroth. Looks like we're beyond the Mushroom Kingdom U Deluxe? I don't actually know the full name of the stage. I can tell you what game it's from, but that's not always the naming scheme. Things seem to be going pretty well for Piranha Plant. So he's up against Sephiroth, who in the Amiibo tournaments, Amiibos either do terribly or like better than average against him. It's a little weird. I believe because of all the range on all of his moves, some of the Amiibo just have a hard time getting past that. And then once there's an Amiibo who can get past the really long sword, Sephiroth sort of just falls to pieces. Back air is going to kill Sephiroth, so Piranha Plant's back air is a very strong move. It's, you know, a miniature explosion. It takes a little bit to come out, so it's usually hard to land, but the Amiibo doesn't seem to care about that part. Sephiroth finally trying to take his turn to play, and that was not very long lasted. Piranha Plant doesn't actually go for a spike there. The amiibos are actually usually better at landing spikes than human players. Granted, in this context, it's an amiibo against an amiibo, so that does simplify a couple of things. Some of the amiibo do not have nearly as many recovery mix-ups as some human players have. Sephiroth air dodges to the ledge, but he actually gets trumped immediately by Piranha Plant. It didn't lead into anything, but it's always a scary situation to be in, because if you re-grab the ledge, you don't have your invincibility. Piranha Plant just sort of lets that hit him. Not sure what he was thinking on that one. He must not have properly calculated how the medium stage of the flare move, I'm pretty sure it's Mega Flare. So it's Flare, Mega Flare, Giga Flare. Hope I got that right. Anyways, it's also an explosion, so you don't want to get hit by those. Avoiding explosions sounds like a very elementary thing to do in this game, but it's still good advice if you want to live. You gotta watch out for Piranha Plant's charge up smash. It's probably one of his strongest moves. I don't know why I said probably. It is one of his strongest moves. It's also, you know, what the character's based off of, so you can imagine that that's not going to be a weak sort of thing, the plant eating something out of a pipe that's above it. It's also a multi-hit, so you need to watch out for that. It does have a scooping hitbox. Sephiroth decides to snap his fingers a bunch, and then he gets killed by a Piranha Plant up smash. Right there, Piranha Plant actually pulled out the Baytwotta. Sephiroth hit him out of it, but still got hit by the spike ball. It's, weirdly enough, one of the best assets of the move is that if your opponent, for example, runs into you with a dash attack, they still get hit by the spike ball, and it's, you know, strong. It does a lot of damage and a lot of knockback, especially at high percents. So a lot of people will use it sort of as a poor man's counter. Great down special from Piranha Plant. Sephiroth's not able to make that back. That takes him the game. And it looks like we have Wolf against Young Link. Gonna be on the Final Fantasy stage, Colosseum, I believe. We get a fun platform arrangement. This is the Hazards Off version, so the platform arrangement is not going to be changing throughout this battle. Something interesting to know. Young Link safely gets out of that engagement. I say that, but... Okay. I was so preoccupied wondering if Young Link was going to live out of that, I completely missed that Wolf seems to have killed himself. Not the best foot forward, I gotta say. Oh, yep, up special mid-stage. That's probably what he did last time. Can't particularly recommend it. Wolf's up special is actually a surprisingly usable move. However, it can be very punishing. You'll normally see a Wolf player recover with his side special just because at that exact angle it just covers more space. And up special kind of gets delegated to recover with this if you want to fake out your opponent into not being able to punish your side special. It actually is slow enough that a lot of moves like counters can safely punish it even if you hit the opponent and grab the ledge. I guess if you perfectly spaced it, then, you know, most counters should be able to do that as well, but... Characters trading blows, throwing out a lot of aerials. So, Wolf's aerials don't come out fast for most of them, but Wolf has a pretty great airspeed, so he can use them when he needs to. Young Link has a lot of, honestly, surprisingly slow aerials. I'll say they're kind of hard to hit with, and especially since Young Link is not nearly as fast in the air as Wolf is. he has a much harder time hitting them, usually relying on his projectiles to contact the opponent so that he can confirm them into an aerial. Up smash almost takes the game, does not. Young Link's up air is, I believe, his fastest aerial. It gets close with his neutral air. So really, you end up using them based off of where the opponent is. And Young Link gets caught with a bomb in his hands. Recovers the top platform, giving just enough time to not have the falling end lag. However, Wolf was able to kill him anyway. And here we've got Robin against Shulk. Alright, looks like we're going to be on the Breath of the Wild stage, the Great Plateau. So there aren't too many platforms, so that normally benefits the projectile characters. Shulk, with his speed Monado, can very easily close the distance, but like all of Shulk's games, it really does come down to how good Shulk is at utilizing the Monado wheel. So it's a very strong move, and any other character who had that replacing one of their moves would pretty much guaranteed be broken. It's actually, you know, kind of reflective across all of Shulk that all of his moves are just underwhelming without Monado. See, with Jump Monado, he's actually able to make that back. Goes for a very high assault, and gets killed by a smash attack. Not looking great for Shulk right now. Trying to land a whole bunch of down airs. When the opponent's grounded, I really can't recommend you go for that move. It just comes out just slow enough. It can be a strong spike, especially with the right Monado. Shulk had Robin in the blender there for a little bit. Robin was making all the techs, but Shulk was just covering them all. Robin going for the 3-hit combo. Does use a little bit of your L-Fire tome, but it keeps your L-Wind tome, which is debatably more useful to have. Not that L-Fire isn't very useful, however, you need L-Wind to recover. So keeping that fully stocked is a lot more valuable than sometimes not being able to use side special for a little bit. Especially because if you use the last of a tome, you still get the entire move, even if you had 1 bar remaining, or if you had like all 5 or however many that specific special move takes of the meter. The only exception is actually L-Wind, where the 2 little wind crescents that come out, both of those consume meter of the L-Wind tome. So it is possible to only get 1 of them, and that really does hurt the recovery. Because the first wind crescent, I guess, gets you all of your horizontal momentum, and then the second one gives you all of your vertical momentum. So if you're very below stage, you can go horizontally pretty well, but you're not going to get too much lift. Robin with a great tech there, hitting the spire of the plateau, definitely saved her life. And yeah, Robin's just making a lot of these techs. Very strong thing to have. And Robin gets killed by a backslash. You actually don't see that often. So backslash is a lot stronger if you hit the opponent in the back with it. In a 1v1 match, it's pretty hard to do because your opponent normally is facing you. Especially if they're one of the 4 characters who specifically will always face you whenever possible. But if you do hit the opponent in the back, it does deal a lot more damage and a lot more knockback. And both characters forgot how to interact with each other. Robin lands the next blood. Buster Monado, little interesting from Shulk. And he might have gotten killed if he did or did not have Buster Monado out. Robin wins. And for the last match of this video, we have Wii Fit Trainer against Donkey Kong.
3, 2, 1, go!
Alright, so I'm just gonna give you my commentary bias on this one. So I think that Wii Fit Trainer is probably going to win. Wii Fit Trainer was actually one of the best performing amiibo that still got subjected to Malaise. So I always generate these brackets randomly. I don't believe in fixed brackets. That's kind of a non-competitive practice. And, you know, fixing brackets just sort of sounds like a very slimy thing to do. So when I was making the bracket for this year, I realized there was just enough space to have the full bracket. Normally, Malaise is the basically one round in after the first bracket because of how the math usually ends up working. But we have just enough amiibo that we can actually do the Malaise being a full tournament. Now I say that we were actually 4 short. So the criteria for making it into Malaise was, first of all, if you didn't make it into April Anger, so that was an easy one. And then anybody who didn't win a match in the actual tournament. So even if you qualified, if you didn't win your first match and you were eliminated, then that's just one-way ticket to Malaise. There were 4 other characters who had to be selected, so I chose it randomly from 4. I seeded randomly 4 characters from all the amiibo who won exactly 1 match. And one of those was actually Wii Fit Trainer. Wii Fit Trainer usually does pretty well in the tournaments. You can see here she's actually already taken 2 stocks off of Donkey Kong while I've been talking about how she's probably going to win this. Donkey Kong isn't even that bad of an amiibo. In the tournament, he had his first match against King K. Rool, who won last year, if you remember that. No, actually, Ness won last year. King K. Rool won 2 years ago. King K. Rool did really well this year, so it's not really a shame on Donkey Kong for not being able to beat one of the highest level champions that he kind of unluckily got pitted against. But at the same time, Wii Fit Trainer is sort of mopping the floor with him. Maybe he's being demotivated hearing me say this through Amiibo, so I know that's not the case. But I do want to somehow be unbiased in my predictions of who I think will win. I don't think it's particularly fun if everyone submits their brackets and then I say that someone made a terrible choice because of information they might not have even had. I, of course, have more experience with these Amiibo. I get to train them, and at any moment, if I want to, I could compare them against each other. I usually don't. I consider the tournaments to be quite enough of that. Although I am the one who retrains them for the next year, so I do get that insider knowledge, if you can call it that. Wii Fit Trainer sends Donkey Kong off stage. Okay, so the side special, when you throw the soccer ball, you can actually choose if it goes mostly horizontal or if it goes at the downwards angle. You change it by depending on your timing of when you hit the ball. And Wii Fit Trainer went for the definite wrong version there because it could not hit Donkey Kong. On stage spike, not killing Donkey Kong, but Wii Fit Trainer now has a fully charged Sun Salutation, which at this percentage probably will kill Donkey Kong. And I guess she must have landed it back here, but it traded and she was at a lower percent. So Wii Fit Trainer is able to not have to keep doing, you know, the Malaise tournament this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. We've got others like it, and by we, I mean me. Be sure to watch for those, and of course there's all the other April Anger related shenanigans. Feel free to get caught up on that. Bye.